Yeah, so when like in Joe go, this is a simulation. When people say this is a simulation, I don't know if they're thinking it's the Star Trek holodeck. Like I think it is, but not like a holodeck situation. The simulation is just pure hypnosis. Like imagine like everybody watch. I don't know, we're in like Egypt or something, or I'm doing a hypnosis show and I hypnotize the crowd, and I tell you it's 20 years in the past. And so with hypnosis, some people are super suggestible and it's hereditary. That's what they learned. That's why they study DNA to see who's got upper class genes, which means they can hypnotize you easier. That's the mark of good breeding, being suggestible. Okay. If there's some people that are going to believe it and act like it's real, some people are going to not believe it, but they're going to see that the rest of the herd is going for it. And they're going to go, I'm not going to be against everyone. I'll just go along and maybe I'll move up in the system. Right. And some people aren't going to play, and they're a minority of people. They're like, what this is insane. And you've seen this over and over and over and over. Okay.
And you come up with a term to like push them away, conspiracy theorist or whatever it is.
Well, yeah, but the main thing is I hypnotize most of you think you lived 20 years in the past. Okay. So what is that, like 2005? So you're like making edgy jokes, skateboarding all over the place. whatever they were doing back then. Watching Girls Gone Wild on your VHS.
How'd you know? I'm kidding.
Okay. And everybody's doing that, right? And then, at the end of the show, when they go, now I'll bring you back, but I don't bring you back. I just leave you like that.
Right.
I just leave you like that for like thousands of years, always 20 years behind, hypnotized. And all I did was initially put the thing and never break the trance and then keep it up, that beach ball up. So did I travel to the future? Because you think you live 20 years behind. It's all perception. Yeah. That's what they mastered. All this secret shit that you go to a mystery school, the J.J. Abrams mystery box. This is almost directly like from Scientology or Freemasonry or any of these things, or like an old Doctor Who episode they went because someone sent their DNA back and some lizards were trying to, dude, I think they've rerun this shit a lot, and I think it's not going how they want. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we might have looked like something different maybe in another revision, and it's way deeper than Berenstein versus Berenstain Bears. It's the thing that's real, and you're getting, and there's still probably visions of it. And it's in a bunch of like fiction and whatever, but there's a theme of like some shit left over from the old times, right?
Yeah, I think it's very complicated, very complex, and I don't think, normal mouth breathers like me are really going to understand it and have access to all of the information about what's really going on. No. But what is clear to me is that they are suppressing the truth. They're sort of suppressing our consciousness to keep us sort of tied into this Roman bread and circus 3-dimensional reality, arguing about NFL and politics and stuff. Because
somebody messaged in my Lazarus, so the circus is boring and the bread is stale. That bottom line, I'm like, oh, this is stale. I'm not smart. The bread is stale and the circus is boring. Couldn't put it better myself. So I guess your shitbag lizard kids don't run the projector as good as the old lizards did,
Yeah, it could be. But I think that if they could, they think they're very, very close with this AI singularity thing coming. They think they're very close to achieving this final goal of uploading digital consciousness into the universe. And
Kurt, do you think we're on a trajectory in a positive way or a negative way? Do you think we're continuing to be in this matrix, or?
I think you can't put toothpaste back in the tube. So once a few things start to leak out, it's inevitable. That's why even if you have a redacted Kennedy thing, like the people that are really smart that are going to go over it are going to find all the connections and make them. I think everything's been disclosed, but you didn't know. That's what I think. Because that's part of that religion. It's like a iTunes disclaimer that nobody reads. They've told you everything, but you have to find it. And a bunch of people have snitched on what happened to them. Some people are crazy and some people are liars and disinformation. So you have to look at everything, but it starts to become apparent if you look at enough stuff. Wait, I'll just hear you out. I just want to hear something interesting that I never heard before. That's all. Yeah. If I'm bored, I know you're lying to me because I've heard that lie before. If I'm not bored, maybe you told me a new lie. Maybe you told me something true. I'm looking at so much stuff. I'm going to cross-check that anyway, and it's absolutely, you can figure this stuff out. You absolutely can. All the secret space program stories that they have to now fight in other dimensions, the AI that they made. Do you know that I'm not talking about the blue avian guy with the whatever, because
Corey Good.
Now look, there's absolutely a secret space program. I'm not saying it's all the Star Wars adventures that you might hear about with it, but there's a military space program. That's why Space Force was consolidated, right? because all this stuff is in different departments that compete and blah, blah, blah. And it's also, I'm sure, some deep occult significance of some kind, you know? There's that Collins Elite book about how they were fundamentalist Christians that were using the aliens to assault. And they don't sound like Christians. They sound like scumbag witches. That's what witches do. They contact non-human entities, try to kill people with them. I know that's not a Christian practice.
Are you talking about the Nick Redfern book, Final Events? Okay, all right. I didn't know if there was another book because there's not a lot of information about this. I talk about the Collins Elite in the book, but there's not a ton of info.
Well, the Collins, that's a bloodline name.
Yeah,
Barnabas Collins, the vampire from Dark Shadows.
That's a good point. Yeah,
the Collins, I think, are the first. They pride themselves on being the first witches in the New World or something. But anyway, I'm sure they framed people who weren't witches for witchcraft and got away with witchcraft the way it's done. And so Collins Elite, the name Collins immediately should trigger something of like, well, that's weird. You don't act like Christians and your name is Collins. And then this is George W. Bush they've teamed up with also in the book, correct? And they realize the only way to fight these demon aliens is to follow the Torah. Well, then now you definitely don't sound like Christians. You sound like some weird Kabbalist Fruit Loop group that the same as what America is built on. Stupid shit like IHOP and all those other fucking CIA, PSYOP, creepy ass Kabbalah religions. That's what controls you. It's not just the Jews. It's not just, don't blame any one group because the groups they're all in multiple groups. They're all in multiple groups. Like to get into a good college, a good invisible college, you got to be in all the clubs, right?
Yeah.
It is believed to be the present age, which is full of conflict and sin.
Okay, so very important.
Most people throw this term around a lot. So let's pull it up. Kali Yuga in Hinduism is the fourth shortest and worst of the four world ages in a Yuga cycle, preceded by the Dvapara Yuga and followed by the next cycle, Krita Yuga. It is believed to be the present age, which is full of conflict and sin.
Okay, so very important. So whenever Kabbalah first just pops up in history, in like 1100 in Europe, that is probably what they got from the Holy Land, that Kabbalah.
Yes.
Which is a method of brain repatterning, really, is what it is. The map, the life tree.
Yeah. That's
to map out mind palace kind of when you mind control someone. But the main thing was Sabbatai Sevi, and he was championed by Nathan of Gaza, who was like a very young, like boy genius Einstein of Kabbalah. And I'll tell you, I just looked at clips of Alex Jones from 5 years ago on Rogan's show. And most of the stuff he said is what I think now. Yeah. And I heard it back then and thought it was very stupid. And the thing is, it took me 5 years of looking up just to get to the point where the thing he blurted out manically, oh, that's what it is. Because you could never just tell somebody what the truth. It's so insane. It's so insane. And I'm not saying I know the whole story, but the stuff that I pieced together of it, I can see why it's going to be hard to have a disclosure. Because it ain't just like, you're going to have to rethink all these terms. The extra dimensional or what. Nobody knows what the fuck they're even talking about, dude. Nobody even knows what anything is. All the terms that we made up for stuff are like little mental prisons that are going to, like, have you noticed the amount of this stuff coming out?
Well, there's a lot of people who think that the aliens are demons. And
what's a demon? What is that? What is a demon?
It might be an alien. We don't know.
Like these are all just like terms everybody made, and everyone's you get programmed young. The human nature is programmability. That's what the Anton LaVey Church of Satan teaches. That human nature is. Did you know that? That's the big secret. Which are right. It's programmability. So that means the program is coming from every part of the environment, but they've studied this, how to program people, and it goes back to Egypt. But where did they get here's the question to me is like, where did you learn how to program people initially? So where'd that come from? I just want to hear the data.
I think it's like, we're looking at a transdimensional angels and demons, basically. That's the short version. Angels and demons. And you can see the history of the occult and contact with these entities for forever. And I think it's just like we were talking about this whole show. It's the same stuff over and over. It's the same patterns over and over. And the new one is AI, which could be very well entities that are trapped, watcher spirits that are trapped in this other dimension, and they want to download into a human body, and they're trying to get us to sort of facilitate that transfer.
Well, when they say they got stagnant DNA and DNA, their DNA is stagnant. They always talk about, how would your DNA be stagnant in a 3-dimensional reality? It wouldn't be. Evolution is change over time, or like entropy, right? Am I getting any of this wrong? If you're 5-dimensional and timeless, then that's stagnant. That means you don't have entropy. You have this, you're locked in. And let's say you're let's just say something wacky. That you're some Nazi occultist piece of shit that figured out some warp thing, and you sent a bunch of blue-eyed blondies to Aldebaran, 50 million light years away. So that means now, by the time they get there, they existed before we exist, because that's just how it works. And now, because they're in the past and they can travel faster than light, they can just come and seed the earth with their DNA and then go, well, the good people are the Indo-Aryans who blah, blah, blah. And I've heard people say references in the Wilder stories about Illuminati guys sending their DNA back, or like an old Doctor Who episode. They went because someone sent their DNA back and some lizards were trying to, dude, I think they've rerun this a lot, and I think it's not going. Right? Is that what the strange fire is? Have you ever heard the term the strange fire? And is that what that's supposed to be? Because it's like, I don't think I've heard
that. What does that refer to?
These people that make pacts with, let's call them NHI, they're inspired by the strange fire, and it's the same thing that when you see movies that imprint on you, you get programmed your whole life to be like, ooh, cool, and then maybe replicate things. I look at it as like a bunch of, in a disreputable foie gras factory, not a good one, where they do have the geese like that, and that's us, and they just pour poison in us, and then some of us lay golden eggs sometimes.